the panelists. We're looking currently on the changing faces of Deputy President William Ruto regarding, of course, his recent pronouncement about his politicking as well, that he's now fully focused on supporting the president and the Big Four agenda and, of course, the politics of development as well. Before we took a short break, of course, we also had promised to look at the editorial cartoons that we had. We're discussing also about the referendum, the BBI as well. And let's speak for the brains of Otiende Amollo on this as well. That editorial cartoon that Bone Khalole had picked on, unless you had something else to say before we continue with that editorial cartoon.
I need to say this. You know, unfortunately, the changing faces of the deputy president reflects deeply on his followers, including on this panel, who are also now changing faces with every change, and it becomes very difficult. It's very logical. There was the handshake, and then the BBI, and then the consequential changes that must be made to the constitution, and which might involve a referendum.
Yes.
Anybody who opposes any possibility, the outcome of the BBI, opposes the BBI, and in turn opposes the handshake. It's logical like that. So you can't then sit here and say the deputy president supports the handshake, and on the same breath, like Khalole was saying, calling the others the handshakers. I mean, once you call the others the handshakers, you know. Secondly, Aaron Cheruriot challenges me. I don't need to take that challenge here, because any Kenyan watching can take that challenge. Just go to YouTube. Just Google, and you go to YouTube in terms of what the deputy president and his followers have consistently said about the handshake and the BBI, and it is several. The deputy president himself has condemned it severally. His own followers, and there are many, especially in the National Assembly. I remember my friend Ndindi Nyoro has condemned it. He's called it the Blue Band Initiative. His my other friend Alice Wahome. I even remember Governor Mandago saying that the BBI guys must not step in that county because they will not give them any views. I mean, so let's not debate what does not require debate. Let us debate what is substantive. And what is substantive is, if the deputy president has now seen the light and has decided to support BBI, has decided to, to stop the campaigns all over the country, has decided to abandon this debate of dynasties versus hustlers, it is a good thing. We will simply admit that he's changed his faces, but he has finally seen the light. And then we move on, and then we would expect him to say that consistently. The problem is he won't. He will go somewhere else tomorrow and say something, go back to the hustler reference. He'll go back to the campaigns. As Khalole was saying, they were in Luanda over the weekend. That is campaign. There's nothing they were doing in Luanda other than campaigning. And so the truth is that the deputy president has perfected that art of changing faces. Now, coming back to the cartoon in the Nation, I think the cartoonist had Leslie adopted a very curious and inexplicable approach to the cartoons, where he depicts Raila as wearing both the URP colors, which are yellow, and the Jubilee colors, which are red. I don't understand that at all, because we have consistently said, that is my understanding of that cartoon. We are working with Jubilee, especially the progressive Jubilee part, but we remain firmly in ODM. We work with them as ODM. Now, this depiction... But lately, we've not seen the ODM colors really flying high since the handshake. Even over the weekend... there's no orange splashed anywhere. Even over the weekend, as Raila was, unleashing the prospective candidates in Kibra, he was wearing orange, and everyone else was wearing orange. That is purely an ODM affair. Yeah. But where else would you want to see ODM? We can't wear ODM to parliament. I mean, as a gentleman, I can't wear an orange suit. So I don't know where else you'd want to see it fly. So I think this depiction is curious and unfortunate, and I think provocative. All right. Of course, we can see how people can be selective when it really comes. You know, Waswahili wanasema ati mwambia ngoma uvutia kwa. Eseli, to you?
I think the deputy president doesn't have to condemn BBI. He has enough people in his entourage to do that. What amuses me is when they do that in his presence, when he stands up he does not tell them not to. That tells you who sent them to. And of course, people like Bonnie will not accept that kind of analogy. But everybody who watches knows that, you know, the old saying that sometimes when a dog barks, you look beyond, see who is the owner, rather than castigating the dog itself. So I think these are obvious things, and anybody trying to say otherwise is playing us for fools, and we are not. We can see that clearly. You know, like when Otiende mentioned about the Harambe in Luanda, and Halwale was very adamant. He said that we were on a development trip, not politics. But see, when politics of development, who has a mainstay of Harambes, then you start doubting that the intention of that development. Because of all the regimes that Kenya has had, the Jubilee regime has been has created very many overnight billionaires, and in the process consigned millions of Kenyans to poverty. So they're just waiting for those kinds of appearances for development and Harambes. I think it's unfortunate that we should look at it as a main agenda of development. But I think what's happening now is that the Jubilee divided into two. There's the part of Jubilee that is raining havoc on the small traders, the so-called hustlers, by closing down their kiosks, kicking them out, and it's happening everywhere up to Kisumu. Then William Ruto gives them a shoulder to cry on, and of course comes in with a bit of Harambe to help them, you know, dry their tears. Not really helping them much, but drying their tears. So everything that one side of Jubilee does, William Ruto rides on it to increase his popularity. And I think the Jubilee has been a very interesting conglomeration of
all right, we need to wind up on it. Let's see from Myron Chirot, briefly. Let's wind up on it.
You know, I've always said the D in ODM stands for dictatorship, not democratic. It's Orange Dictatorship Movement. And it's really unfortunate that my good friend Otiende would wish us that we live life as they live in ODM. Some of us can't. That's not how we are wired. You know, in ODM, and you've seen including members, elected members of parliament in ODM say that we in ODM, the rule of existence is that one, Baba is right. Rule number two is that if you are in doubt, please refer to rule number one. Can you imagine a whole elected, and that is a philosophy that Otiende lives by. That anything Raila, you know, my good friend Otiende, Raila may be probably the equivalent of a demigod, sort of, where you come from. But that is not how the rest of Kenyans live their life and how they perceive their politics. Anything that I say does not have to agree.
What is he talking about?
You know, does not have to agree or tally with what the leaders from the region do. The fact that Nani is referring to Eseli, that on many occasions when you go to public engagements and the deputy president is there, if we have opinions that are divergent to his, he doesn't have to correct us because he's a Democrat and he knows that the rest of us have got different ways of perceiving issues. We don't have to agree with him. He may think that because his boss has supports the BBI initiative, that it's good for the country. The rest of us don't. And I want to remind you, you see Otiende, stop misquoting what Mandago said. Mandago never told BBI not to step in Eldoret. He told them that they cannot recognize the BBI because when it went towards Ngishu, it never sought the opinion of the leaders. The same can be said in Kericho. I cannot possibly be a fool enough to support what the outcome of the BBI will be, while I know very well that in the county that I represent, nobody's views were sought.
Thank you.
Therefore, it will be foolish of me to just come here and say, oh, because my party leader said that it is okay, let us engage. You know, we must also be sensible enough and appreciate that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta are great Kenyans.
So they've retreated to actually to come up with a report before even you got any, you know, consultative or maybe participation from your county.
That is not public participation. It's a charade. You can't go to various counties, ignore the leaders, ignore the opinion shapers, and then pretend that you're doing a document that is inclusive for Kenya. We know what is the threshold for public participation. You have seen, even in our own small way in Parliament, when you are doing public participation for for any laws that we are doing,
Thank you.
how it looked like. BBI never did anything of the sort. Let me just allow me 10 seconds to finish what I was saying, that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta may be great Kenyans, and indeed they are. But you see, they are not God. At the end of the day, they're individuals just like us. They put on their trousers just like me. They eat and do as many things that I do, just like any other individual. So it doesn't follow that anything that they do is good for the country. It must be taken through a logical process and see how does it end. By the way, if you want to know the difference between how Jubilee and ODM perceives the handshake, look at the people that they nominated. Look at the people that ODM nominated to BBI. Look at the people Jubilee nominated. And it will tell you, which part of the divide wanted from the onset a constitutional change, which one thought that this will just be an avenue where people come, they talk and they share about their problems, but that is where it ends.
Thank you. Bonnie Halwale, briefly.
My brother Amollo is inviting us to comment on BBI. Amollo, we cannot, because A, we do not know what is BBI. B, the composition of BBI is so unknown to us as Kenyans that even the Secretary General for Kenya, who is your colleague in NASA, also was not allowed to participate in nominating somebody from his party thinking to be a member of the BBI. So we will comment on BBI no sooner you give us what it is that you are talking about. Number two, my brother Eseli, I think I was going to let you get away with this, but I think you're pushing it too much. You have raised two comments. One, that the people around Ruto, when they speak and Ruto does not contradict them, it is because they are his dogs. Let me tell you, my brother, it pays to be humble. Let me just take the immediate vicinity around Ruto. You are talking about Brother Cheruyot, who, for information, maybe you don't know because of his age. He's actually a university-trained communications expert. Your own younger brother and colleague in the profession, Dr. Halwale, I don't have to belabor my qualifications. I'm highly disciplined in medicine. And then thirdly, Kipchumba Murkomen. He's a lawyer like Amollo. Why would you think that when we speak in a public forum, we speak not by force of our intellectual capabilities, but because we are barking like somebody's dogs? I think you wish to respect everybody around you, and as you speak, project that. Finally, there might be a few people who do not know that in a very subtle way, you are attempting to insult the president, the deputy president, that is suffering from megalomania. I didn't want to comment. Megalomania, Kenyans might not know, is actually a delusion. You suffer from a mental illness where you are deluded that you are important when you are not. Now, if the deputy president, you feel he thinks he's important and yet he's not, then what is he? A deputy president of the Republic of Kenya under the Constitution of 2010 is a very important person. He is a very powerful person. In fact, the deputy president, for information, exercises power on behalf of the president, and when the president is not around, exercises that power by right. So you need to, again, stretch and respect other people, especially on a forum like this when Kenyans want to know how we perceive things. Finally, on the cartoon in The Nation today, I'm glad that Amollo has finally woken up to the reality that his boss is not the same man he used to see in Bondo. The guy has undergone complete metamorphosis. The thing that you call ODM is he is no longer part of it. He is living in a future where he controls ODM and controls Jubilee. This is why you see him putting on Jubilee and ODM colors. He tried to stretch it beyond just putting on uniforms in Embakasi South when he pleaded with Jubilee that don't field against me. He thought he was going to sneak through and win. He lost. Again, he was attempting to do the same in Kibra, but thank God that the Secretary General of Jubilee has now clarified that ODM will face off with Jubilee. So if you are still following this guy, my brother, ask Jagoya and I. Ask, you have no idea. You have no idea what he's going to do to you. He'll do to you what worse things than what he did to his cousin. Up to and including destroying his business interests. You wait for it, you will see.
All right. So what, Bonnie, will you say also, because we're discussing this editorial cartoons, there's this one also that I think you depicted there as well. This is the political guns for hire at funerals and Arambes. You can look at that screen that we have over there, yes?
Oh, yeah.
And we can see the gun for hires as well.
Two lists of this one.
We can see, yes. Do you see your face anywhere there? There you are. That is clear. Huh?
Oh yeah, he is.
With a shining pet there.
I can see Sudi,
you can see.
Atuoli,
No, the next is
Orengo.
you don't see yourself, the second one.
Oh, you think this is me?
It doesn't look like you.
I am an extremely handsome man. I cannot be that one. The artist, if he was having me on mine, then he's wrong by a mile. Off the mark.
Before Jacoyo, maybe a right of reply, because
the cartoon
hit me quite
yes.
hard about he implied that I'm questioning the intellectual abilities of those who say these things, and he went ahead to misuse intellectualism by giving only one definition of megalomania. Yet, if he actually Googled and went through and read all the definitions of megalomania,
the myriad,
it does not necessarily mean a mental disability. And so he's also being economical with the truth on national TV, which intellectuals should not do.
All right, Jacobi, do you?
should have said.
Let's, okay, Jacobi, just wind up on it. We continue with the discussion. There are lots of the things we need to discuss.
It's obsession with exercise of power. And Halwale is taking the medical one, which is an illusion.
More at home with you.
Which the one is more at home with. And you are taking the one. None of them is abusive. But now, first of all, spare me on the comment on the cartoon. I just want to say something.
Which one?
The cartoon, that one.
The BBI.
The BBI. The one with Waiguru and Orengo. I think enough has been said.
Okay.
And as far as the colors of ODM, I have very bad things to say about ODM, so I don't want to say them today. So, but
say you are embarrassed by your cousin. Proceed.
So now, no, I don't think it's.
So you don't want to speak from a point of anger.
Exactly,
Yes.
because I don't think it is a civilized outfit. Well, let me, as constituted, let me just say this: that arising from what Honorable Aaron Cheriot has said, you know, it had to happen this way. Even the mere fact that BBI is being done by people, politicians away from Parliament, it had to come. Remember when Parliament, we said it so many times, that as long as Jubilee kills Parliament, there will be nobody to criticize the state. There will be nobody to talk for the people. And it was always the issue of tyranny of numbers. And when it was led to occasion in the magnitude that it did, the country is left without options. And that is a very sad thing, because even the people who took us here, brought us here through the second liberation, are now part of the gravy train. Now, you know, the day Parliament saying, because of tyranny of numbers, they lifted and gave away their power to set the debt ceiling and let, on orders of the executive, let Rotich borrow any which way he wanted. We are in a hole and we are nearly 6 trillion shillings in debt. That is fundamental power of budget that Parliament gave away because of the so-called tyranny of numbers. Yes. And I remember Orengo telling Beth Mugo, when the state was passing securities laws, which now the police are even using now to terrorize Kenyans, Orengo said something which Kenya will remember forever. He said, Beth Mugo, my sister, what you guys are engaged in shall come to haunt. And you have seen, just this year, when MPs just talk in Nakuru, somebody takes away their security. And you have seen, these people keep insisting the DP is the other wing of Jubilee. But he goes to Nyeri or Turkana, even a chief can't go to where he is. So, junior government civil servants are ordering chiefs and policemen not to go near a state officer, number 2 state officer in the country. So the issue here, Dibal, is going to be a very big issue. A very, very big issue, because where we are before 1992. And where we are headed, it's going to get worse. Where we are headed is going to get worse, because somebody must take responsibility for destroying parliament. And I want to plead with my friends who are next, who are friends of DP.
Yeah, but from your own assessment, whom do you think is destroying parliament?
Parliament was destroyed by Jubilee. I was the deputy minority leader. They just insisted. They passed illegal laws. They gave state more power than were not intended in the new constitution. They fought. Remember the securities laws. We even physically fought in parliament. Mm-hmm. We even physically fought in parliament. And we were telling them, this thing shall come to bite. Who are they biting now? The rest of us are basically, even the ones in parliament like Iseli and Otiende are powerless. The division of Jubilee is using the same powers against Jubilee now. And I can tell you, it means the person in charge, even when you see the civil servants talking. I saw a civil servant the other day saying, we don't want politicians to criticize censors. You know, just because somebody else, why are you asking us about our goats? Why are you asking us about our camels? They're saying that is political interference. And one of the tenets of our constitution, Dibal, requires public participation on everything, including BBI.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's a right of reply.
Briefly, because
yes,
we've got two topics that we need to handle.
No, because both
Kindly keep it short.
Halwale and Aaron asked me direct questions. And let's put it this way. First of all, there's a habit by Halwale and Aaron Cheruiyot that every question that comes, they must bring it back to the ODM party and to the ODM leader. And they think that by doing so, they then achieve great talking points that can be quoted the rest of the day. I think it's so nonsensical. When you asked about a cartoon on which the DP is, how Aaron then finds it necessary to talk about Bondo and the party leader and what he alleges to be psychophancy, I do not understand. I think sometimes it's good to put people on the subject of discussion. Aaron Cheruiyot, who claims to know more about ODM party than those who are in it, has never been a member of ODM.
Hey, I've been one.
You have never been a member of ODM. We have no record of you. if you have been, how can I be a new entrant and I've founded ODM? I carried the certificate of ODM. You were in school then. So please, let's be fair to me. Dr. Halwale, who speaks so much about ODM, has never been a member of ODM.
Never.
Never.
And I can never be.
Yes. So the inside knowledge he claims of ODM, I do not know where he gets it from. Maybe from leaning over the window when ODM matters are being discussed. That is not knowledge. You are as much an outsider in ODM as much as you are right now in Jubilee, even though you think you are in. You are actually an outsider. And so let's be fair to everyone. When we are discussing a subject, let us discuss that subject. Let us not bring in other things to try and diminish others. And so when you say that you do not speak by the strength of anybody's mind, it's based on the intellectualism, I can tell you, Dr. Halwale, because Eseli knows we are with colleagues in parliament who only go and come and speak after they visit the deputy president and their pockets are bulging. So they speak on the basis of the bulge of their pocket. It is quite possible some of you sometimes do that.
Thank you.
Now, what you must tell us is this.
You have to allow
We were
us
talking about the BBI. What you should, all Kenyans, is this. Aaron Cheriot as a senator, Dr. Boni Halwale. What you should tell Kenyans is whether you support BBI or not. Then Kenyans will actually know what the DP's position actually is.
You see,
Thank you.
So do you want him to tell us on set if he supports BBI, or is that rhetorical?
yes, because did you hear what Otiende asked me? He says, I need to tell Kenyans whether I support the BBI or not, then we will know the DP's position.
Senator, I said
and
as
I
a
have told
senator.
him on many occasions that how ODM works is not how we work in Jubilee. I can hold a different opinion
Do
to
you support BBI?
what the DP holds,
Yes,
and
yes or
that
no?
is perfectly normal.
You
in ODM,
but
that is non-existent.
But on this platform, you've been castigating the BBI.
Yes, I
itself.
don't support it.
You don't
Yes.
support it.
I
Fair
have
enough. He's
said
very
it more
stern.
than 100
But you
times,
know people have
and I have told you.
different
Just a
No,
moment.
Debal,
No, let him finish. Let him
Allow
finish.
me to finish.
Please, let him finish.
Allow me to finish. I have said it, and I have given reasons why I do not support BBI. That is not to say that I've closed my mind
That's
to
it.
the fact that there are
Thank you.
challenges.
All right, let's not belabor the point.
Allow me.
Okay,
You
finish.
allowed Otiende the right of reply. Why do you want to deny me?
Oh,
But
just
I was replying to you.
Yes.
Okay,
we
just let
can't
him.
reply.
So
Okay,
allow me.
now kindly let him just finish. Let him
I
have
have
his.
said that is not to close my mind to the issues that, for example, Jacoy is speaking to. That there are problems in Kenya that we have got to find a way of sitting around and not talking at each other, but finding a solution on how we can make Kenya a greater republic. But I'm on record as saying that BBI is not the way to. If you want to achieve a greater Kenya, everybody must be on board. BBI is exclusive. We want an all-inclusive process, something where everybody feels part and parcel to it, then we can have, you know, there are things that maybe out of 5 of the main talking points that bother us as a country, you know, the system of government, devolution, we may find ourselves that we agree on 3, disagree on 2.
Thank you, Aaron.
We can start with the things that we agree on.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much. Let's wind it up with Boni Halwale very briefly. Then we move on now to the petrodollar question as well.
Amollo, why do you want me to keep on repeating what I've already said? The reason why I do not state categorically that I am for or against BBI, it is because BBI has said nothing. The moment they come out like Dr. Ekuro and they tell us this is our suggestion or this is our bill, then we shall either support or oppose it. Can't I make it clearer than that? Finally, I thought you came from, a flourishing legal practice before you came into politics. This opposition of members of parliament getting money from the deputy president, it is so cheap. Let me teach you. Let me teach you, my brother. If you think you have come into politics to improve your economic fortunes, ask Jacoyo, ask Simiyu, and ask me. In politics, we don't come there to make money. In politics, we come there because, as President Uhuru said, you have a passion for the people. You want to change their lives. And you change their lives by driving community agenda. That's why, please, this is very important so that Mheshimiwa is heard and I'm heard and we are understood. This is why, Amollo, if you come to Ikolomani, I was re-elected 3 times, including a by-election, because I was speaking to the community agenda program, schools, bridges, roads, and what have you. I was not doing little things like constructing mud houses the way you are doing in game. I was actually addressing community issues. You have...
I don't come from them, so
in reality,
you don't know what you're saying.
in reality. This is what you should know. If you're looking for money, go and look for money. It is pathetic that you tell people that when you leave this place, an elected member of parliament, you go to your law firm. You are not elected to come to Nairobi to practice law. You are elected in Rarieda.
We are on recess.
You are
Just a
elected in
moment.
Rarieda
You may not know.
to
No,
go
excuse
and
me.
do legislation and oversight.
Okay, allow me to bat in.
Point of order.
I think now we're actually getting to a law that is not. This is getting
Yeah,
past
the
law.
man is so
no.
low.
I think it's, no. You're getting so low.
If he must
Just a
defend
moment.
his cause,
No.
we must also
I think some of those comments you're making, they're very inconsequential. Truly,
And very
yes,
sad,
they are very
actually.
inconsequential. So I want us to proceed to other, unless you have a right of. So I'll give just a moment. I'll give Otiende Amollo just a right to reply. 1 minute. To Boni Kalwale will close it.
It is very simple. Boni Kalwale preaches what members of parliament should do and not follow money. I just wish he would follow that advice. And I advise my colleagues in the National Assembly also to follow that advice, because I know many who follow money, and it is a real unfortunate thing.
Speak to them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's see what is happening on social media as well. We have Dr. Andrew Sule saying megalomania is a mental condition which is a delusion. And Boni Mutetezi was forced to use medical nomenclature to hammer a point through Otiende Amollo's cranium
Thank you,
to protest the remarks the latter made earlier about barking dogs. And of course now we have to refer to the dictionary. Just to, megalomania is here. This is from the Cambridge dictionary. Is an unnaturally strong wish for power and control, or the behalf that, or the belief, I should say, that you are very much more important and powerful than you really are. So that is the definition. Let's see what also Dr. Jen Omwenge, she's saying. She's saying, kindly Dibal, allow those panelists to discuss about issues that are affecting Kenyans and do not discuss Dr. William Samoei Ruto.
Exactly.
Media cannot sell without DP Ruto. Malaria in Tahiti, youth are suffering. I agree with you. Of course, that's what we want to gravitate, but also remember this is people and politics. We begin also with politics, and we look at the people's issues as well.
Professor Mwenga should become the panelist.
He should become a panelist.
Become the moderator.
He should become the moderator.
Yes, so that you become a panelist. Yes,
You had Dr. Boni Kalwale and Dr. Jen. Also, why so much fixation about politics and deputy president? Why can't you engage panelists on issues of development? Agenda 4, for example. We have also Nyamogo Gogni saying, in my culture there was a saying that a witch can never accept in public that she is one until she is caught in the act. It is in the public domain that DP is in active politics and campaign moods that has witnessed his right-hand men shamelessly attacking